Hello boys and girls, my name is White Rhino PSO, and today I am playing Doom, the original one released back in 1993. Now, if you've watched any of my Wolfenstein 3D videos, you might have heard me mention that it is kind of considered the grandfather of the first-person shooter genre. Well, it wasn't until Doom came around that things really became popular, and to this day, there are still games that are coming out that are using this game as an inspiration. I'm not going to waste any time by trying to talk about all the different ways that this game was considered controversial back in the day. There are quite a few videos and articles on the internet that would explain that a lot better than I can. Instead, I'm going to tell you the backstory behind the game, because a lot of people probably don't even realize it has one. So in Doom, you play as a space marine, and you are sent to Mars after assaulting a superior officer who had ordered you to fire on civilians. And up on Mars, the Union Aerospace Corporation, or the UAC, is working with teleportation technology on Phobos and Deimos, which are the two moons that are orbiting the planet. And as tends to happen in stories like this, something goes horribly wrong, and demons start pouring into the base on Phobos, and the entirety of Deimos just completely disappears from the sky. Now, the game was originally released with 3 episodes, and the first of which, Knee Deep in the Dead, was released as Shareware, which is probably another reason why this game became so popular. Later on, they added a 4th episode that's very difficult, called Thy Flesh Consumed, as part of an update they called Ultimate Doom. For now, though, we're just going to start at the beginning. And I prefer to play on Hurt Me Plenty, which it's going to look like I'm very good at the game, but that's mostly because I have played through this first episode a ridiculous number of times over the years. As you go up in difficulty, like on Nightmare, enemies actually begin to respawn over time. So that gets a little ridiculous. Now, you might notice already that the game doesn't look like it originally did back in 1993. That's because I'm using a source port called GZ Doom. And that gives you a whole bunch of different options to change the game, such as mouse look, or letting you jump, or a bunch of different graphical updates that make things look a little better. Other than that, it's a pretty standard FPS game. You have health that you want to keep above 0 if at all possible. You've got armor that kind of reduces the damage you take from enemies. And you have 2 weapons to start. There's your fist, which doesn't do a whole lot of damage and is very close range, which is not really the best considering that a lot of enemies in this game, almost all of them, have a ranged attack. And the pistol, which does decent damage, but as soon as you find an upgrade, you're probably never going to use it again. This game also has a lot of different secrets, and the first of one right here is one that I never knew about as a kid. That switch temporarily opens that wall, which leads out to the courtyard here. This blue armor boosts you up to 200. You got a nice imp enemy over there. The blue armor boosts you up to 200. The green armor I picked up earlier only boosts you to 100. And other than that, this game is all about shooting the enemies and getting to the exit. You don't really have to seek out every enemy on the map. There's no points in this one, unlike in Wolfenstein 3D. So it's really just completionism that would make you strive to kill everybody. I don't know if you noticed there, that barrel that I shot and it exploded. This, I believe, is the game that popularized the concept of exploding barrels. So if you do enough damage to a barrel, it explodes and does pretty ridiculous damage to everything around the area. There's another secret. You can see it way in the background over there. I didn't know how to open that one originally as a kid either. One of these two lines is a trigger. It looks like it's that second one there that opens that up. And, of course, it closes after a little bit of time. And then the next weapon that you are going to be wanting to use is the shotgun, which I think this game also popularized shotguns in FPS titles to the point where almost every FPS game seems to have one. Oh, and just like in Wolfenstein 3D, like I said, there is a kill count, items, and secrets count, but since there's no points, it's really just if you feel like being a completionist. Exploding barrels are very nice because they let you turn enemies into piles of gore. Oh, that already opened. I think there's a trigger right there that causes this elevator to go up and down. Like I said, I know this first episode way too much, and that's because I played it a lot as a kid, and because of different difficulties, I have had to record this game 4 different times now. This pickup here is the backpack, which doubles your capacity for ammo and also gives you a little bit of all the different kinds of ammo. This armor here gives you just 100 armor, but since your max is 200, you rarely end up needing to pick that up. Oh, that switch that I flipped in that secret down there opens up this secret. I heard you up there. And in here is not only the item that boosts your health up to 200, but also the next weapon, which is the chain gun. And the chain gun is pretty much the exact same thing as the pistol, except it fires a lot faster and is more accurate than you'd expect it to be. Like, there's a lot of more modern first-person games that make different weapons from this game a lot less accurate. Like in this one, the shotgun, even at this range, has a somewhat tight spread, but in most modern first-person games, you need to be just about standing in the guy's pocket in order to do decent damage with a shotgun. Now, this switch here opens up an area that's almost entirely optional. Like, you could just go up this way and finish the level, but there are a few power-ups and enemies to kill over here. The normal, I believe they're called, like, zombie grunts or something like that. These normal guys are pretty much cannon fodder. I always enjoy taking them out, though, because it just takes a few seconds of your chain gun, or, whoop, I heard that. A few seconds of your chain gun, or a single shotgun blast usually takes them out. Jesus. How many of you guys are there? Now this secret here, I don't know if you noticed, it opened up when I shot the wall. I believe that's the only... Well, I mean, as far as I know, that's the only secret in the first episode that opens when you shoot something, as opposed to when you hit a switch or try to open a door. And this switch here lowers the platform. That gives you a really good replacement for the punch, which is the chainsaw. It is still a short-range weapon, but because this game still works with the Wolfenstein 3D system, where if you shoot an enemy, you kind of stun them, the chainsaw can be really useful for certain enemies that are melee only, or close range only, and being able to stun them so that they can't do any damage to you, but you're still tearing through their health. One of those enemies is actually coming up in the next level, I believe. I don't think there's any of them in here. And then another secret here, which is a little more obvious than some, which is another backpack. I was going to say, sadly, getting a second backpack doesn't give you another amount of ammo you can store. It just adds a little more ammo to the pool you already have. And I think... Actually, it looks like I'm missing one small section, which doesn't have a whole lot to offer, but still nice. But yeah, the shotgun has a tight spread in this one and is good. That's the other guy that was hanging out with the imp downstairs, because over here is a little... It's not really considered a secret, I guess, but it lets you peek in at the chainsaw room. And then this secret here... Ah, still got me. So yeah, normally in the game you could not look up and down, so this was kind of a dangerous secret to get. The game had auto-aim, so that if there was an enemy at a higher or lower elevation than you, then shooting at them, the bullets would just kind of naturally aim down toward them. And that is it for level 2. I always miss a secret in that level, and I'm not sure which one it is. Level 3 is the one that leads you off to the secret level, which I will explain how to get to. Oh yeah, just like how there's the normal single-shot grunts, there's also the shotgun guys. And when you kill them, they always drop a shotgun. So I actually have... a... Jesus, I'm taking damage there. I actually have a bunch of different books that teach you how to make your own Doom levels, and one of the hints that they mention is to be careful about placing shotgun guys, because they will give the player a shotgun. This button here opens up this section down here. And if you hear that funny roaring noise, that is the enemy that the chainsaw is the best against. And I'll give him some chainsaw just because he's in the way. Those are the pink demons, sometimes called pinkies. And they are melee only, and they're pretty big, so sometimes they get stuck in corridors and such. Now the reason I'm backtracking is because this room over here is a secret that you have to... You trigger getting to it by... I don't know if it's this line or if it's the bottom stair. But that opens that, or lowers that, which lets you open there. And that leads off to a small room with some pickups. Now, the little lighting effect around the helmets and the potions, as well as the power-up there, and the room flashing when I shoot my weapons, that is something that was added with GZ Doom. And also there's a second secret over here that you trigger the same way as the first. And if you are heading to the secret level, then this is a very important secret. It also shows you the 5th and final weapon you can get in the first episode. There are a few more, but they like to hide certain enemies and certain weapons behind the shareware wall. As the rocket launcher, and this is the only weapon in the game that can cause damage to you if you fire it too close to a wall. And in here is another backpack, and then this switch is pivotal to getting to the secret level. And in here is another secret, and another chain gun in case you didn't get one in level 2. And then that leads you around again to over here, which is... I've already been there. And I believe right now we could go to the secret level. We wouldn't have to go down there anymore, and we wouldn't have to go toward the normal exit. But I like to take out the whole level if possible. And over here, it looks like just a normal secret, but is actually... You know what? I'm going to give them a rocket. Ooh, I think that worked. Yes, that worked very well. So normally you could only shoot them a few times before they get so close to this wall that you can't get them. But I've noticed that they keep being able to shoot you even when you can't get a good angle on them. Oop. That is one of the bad things of the shotgun, is that it has a bit of time lost between each shot as it reloads itself. But yes, this first episode might be a little boring, just because I know it so well. Episode 2 and 3 and 4, I don't know almost at all, so those might be a little more interesting. Now, this was a trap that I didn't really like as a kid because I wasn't a big fan of the dark, and plunging you into darkness, as well as putting some fairly dangerous enemies in the room, was not my idea of fun. And that blue key takes us all the way back to the beginning. Well, needs us to go back to the beginning, rather. That switch that I mentioned being quote-unquote pivotal was actually what raised this platform. Otherwise, if you fall in... Yeah, as soon as you get too close, that opens up. If you fall into the pit at any time, you're just screwed. You cannot get out, and you will end up dying. But it actually looks like I'm about at the end of this video, so thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.